Welcome back to another episode on depression with energy and motivation. And this one's motivation versus energy, understanding that they are not the same thing. And hopefully with these videos, what happens is our depression decreases, our behaviors around depression that aren't helping us out also decrease, and that our healthy behaviors start to increase, and that we're able to become the best version of ourselves that we want to be in life, the one we envision. And we're able to make long-term and short-term goals, and then we're able to start working through those. So if you've ever sat on your bed thinking, I want to do the thing, I just can't, well, this episode is for you, because one of the biggest sources of shame and depression is not understanding the difference between motivation and energy. We tend to lump them together and then beat ourselves up when we do not follow through. But here's the truth. You can care deeply about something and still not have the capacity to act on it. So today we're going to break down the difference between motivation and energy, explore why it matters, and offer gentle ways to respond when your body and your mind are not at sync. So let's make space for compassion instead of self-criticism. So where do we get started on this topic? Well, we start with what is energy and what is motivation. So let's define the two clearly. Energy is your available capacity. It's the physical, emotional, and mental fuel you have given at any given moment. It fluctuates based on sleep, nutrition, stress, mental health, overstimulation, and a lot more. And then motivation is your desire to act. It's the spark that says, I want to do this, right? From thinking about it to taking that leap or that step and actually putting it into place and creating that action. Motivation might be rooted in meaning, urgency, values, or even habit. So you can have high motivation and low energy. So I want to clean my space, but I feel heavy and exhausted. Or you could have high energy and low motivation. I'm physically awake, but emotionally flat or disconnected. You can have both, or you can have neither. So understanding this difference matters, because when you say, why can't I just do it? What you often mean is, have the desire, but not the capacity. And that's not a flaw. It really is just a signal for us to understand and to unpack, really. So once we understand what energy is and what motivation is, where do we go from here? Well, we need to understand why this distinction reduces our shame. And so when we don't understand the gap between energy and motivation, we internalize failure. We start saying things like, I'm lazy, I don't care enough. If I really wanted to, I'd just do it. But would you say that to someone who's physically injured and can't run a race they're passionate about? Probably not. With depression, the injury is obviously invisible, but it's still very real. And knowing you want something, even if you can't act on it, is a sign of life, not failure. It means the spark is still there, the body just hasn't caught up yet. And that is okay. So try to reframe these. Instead of, why don't I want to do this? Ask, what's blocking me right now? Instead of, I should be able to, say, today my capacity is different, and that's not my fault. So this distinction turns guilt into understanding and understanding into care. So now that we understand the distinction, and hopefully we can reduce our shame, next we want to respond to both with compassion. And so what you can do when you notice this gap between motivation and energy, well, here are some practices that we can start utilizing. If you have motivation but no energy, break tasks into micro steps. Try the 10-minute rule. Set a timer and stop if it's too much. Offer yourself a compassionate permission slip to not do the thing, but still honor the desire that's behind it. So now if you have energy, but you don't have any motivation, do something light and meaningful, like listening to music you love, journaling, or connecting with nature. Reconnect to your why. What would this task bring you, emotionally or mentally? And remind yourself, low motivation is not apathy, it's often protection. And if you have neither of these, focus on comfort and safety, not performance. And rest without guilt. Say, this is the most I can do today, and that's enough. Remember, your worth is not measured by your output. You're allowed to exist on low days, which I think is sometimes very difficult and hard for us to understand, is that it's okay if we take a few days off. And as long as we can hopefully get back on and do the things that we want to do. And if we're just finding that we really, really can't, and we're taking more than a few days off, then it's okay to give our permission to ask for some help and maybe seek some help in order to start doing what we want to do in life. So to recap, energy is your capacity and motivation is your desire. They are connected, but they're not the same. When you can't act on your desires, it doesn't mean that you're lazy. It means your system needs care, not criticism. And responding with compassion helps build trust in yourself, even when you feel stuck. So in our next episode, we'll talk about how to use microtasks, small, manageable steps that help you stay gently engaged with life, even on low energy days. So here's the comment section. Did you already know the difference between motivation and energy? Did you not? Are you struggling with this? Do you already understand it to where you allow yourself grace days and you take those small steps and you do maybe a little bit of things when you can? Or are you still kind of beating yourself up over it and you need more self-compassion? And then if you're kind of struggling with what should I really put down, here's a question for you. When do you most notice the gap between what you want to do and what you feel capable of doing? And remember, you're not lazy. You are learning how to listen to your body and meet yourself where you are, and that is courageous. And so now here we are at the other area that I love to talk about, and this has to do with the 2 journals that I have created and the children's book that I created as well. And so for some reason I forgot my little verbiage on it, so we'll just try to do it without it because I find that helps. But these are journals and a book that you and your children can come home to, ones where you can self-explore, use self-compassion, discover what self-love is and what discipline means in our lives, where we can meet anxiety with compassion. And then when it comes to our little ones, there is a book that I offer on how is courage, right? How do we do brave? And on the end of the worksheets or on the end of the book are some worksheets so that your little one has something to fill out as well. So if you liked this video at all and it resonated with you, like, comment, or share this with somebody who may need it.